All right, I'm just gonna wait for Shannon to get on here and we can get started. Oh, we got some. Yay! Oh, let's see. There you are.
Just trying to make sure my lipstick and my hair is right.
You're Hi, how are you doing?
I am good. I am
Yeah.
very good. I'm trying to figure out this. I use my computer more than the phone,
Mm.
and then you forced me to make me have to use the phone.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I would. It sometimes. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it would seem easier to do it on the computer, but Instagram. I mean, Instagram. Yeah, Instagram doesn't allow for it. But we're live. We're live
Yeah.
everywhere. So we're live on uh, Facebook and on YouTube and on Periscope. So we're live everywhere as well.
I'm gonna find you on Facebook and share you. Let's see. Are you? And today anyway, what a wonderful day it has been. It has. It's
Has it really been? Has it really?
yes, it really has.
Mm.
Yeah, I went and voted. I had for the first time ever, I waited 2 hours in line.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
where I'm from is a small town, and normally you just whip in there and get done and get
Hmm.
out. Um, but it was just an amazing experience, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Why are we why are we doing this? And where are you at on Facebook?
Well, if you're going to my personal page, you're not going to see anything on there. You got to go to my
Oh,
pro page.
give me that. Tell me.
It's
Huh.
Fernando Barone Psychic Medium. I think that's what it is.
Oh,
Yeah, whenever,
okay.
yeah, because sometimes people they'll tag me and they'll tag my personal page, but I'm not. I don't accept
Well, there
like
you are.
random. Yeah, I don't accept people on my personal page.
I have you, but I don't have. Like, where are we at? I can't find us. All right, here we go. Let me put me over here. Um, yeah, uh, kind of apologize for being in between so long. I have I guess allergy season has been absolutely crazy.
Hmm.
Um, and it just really has played havoc on my um sinuses. And
Hmm.
oh my, it's yeah, it
Yeah,
took a
mine.
really big toll on me.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed a change there, and where I'm at, we have the fall season starting, and then we have the allergies and all that, and then we have the smoke, so it's like a dual like combo issue going on simultaneously. Didn't y'all have smoke like a couple of weeks ago or 2 or 3 weeks ago? There
That's
was a lot of
why
smoke.
it was worse for me. The
Mm,
smoke, and then the elm and the cedar and everything is coming down, and it's like,
hmm.
oh yay, here we go. You know. Um, well, my computer has decided it just don't want to do anything. But that's okay. It's just the energy. Um, I'm very excited. I don't know what's going to come out or what's going to happen, but let's start by saying hi. My name is Shannon.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon, and you know me
This
as
is
Ferny, of course. Yeah.
and we're going to be doing channeling tonight. So
Hmm.
if you're looking for a reading for your loved ones or a reading if you anything like that, that's not what this is about. But if you would like to ask some questions about anything that is being channeled, because channeling a lot of times is information about the collective, about the world, about our spiritual selves, or how to spiritual advance ourselves. So we want to step in that space. Um, and I was watching it the other night, and I loved because I'm even getting this. If you're on the Facebook and you get somebody saying that they can read better than anybody else, please, please report them as
Mm-hmm.
spam. I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to be very nice about it and
Mm-hmm.
and say really nice words because that is very, very unprofessional
Right.
of them to be doing that. And if they were that good of readers, why would they need to go and chase down people? I don't chase anybody. They come to me, and the
Right.
same with you.
Mm-hmm.
We have our little things that we put out, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's all I have to say about that subject because
Mm-hmm.
it can, yeah, I lose my
Yeah. Well,
spirituality.
there are always going to be people out there who want to consume the energy and the resources of those who are most susceptible
Yes,
or who are most vulnerable. And if someone wants answers, my first choice is let me teach you how to look within yourself for the answer because you shouldn't have
amen.
to come to me. But if you need to come to somebody, then it should be someone that's, got a good reputation or trusted, not someone that's just randomly messaging you saying, hey, I can read you, and then they're going to take all your money. Oh, he froze. So I'm waiting for him to unfreeze. The energy. Sorry, it's always with Shannon. Always with Shannon. There is always some sort of like energy stuff going on. I'm here. I'm here. It's the energy.
It's
It's already
the.
starting up. It's always
I'm
with you.
like, why, guys? Slow and chill it
Mm-hmm.
down. Chill it down.
Mm-hmm.
Get compatible. Get compatible. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'll shut the computer off.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I won't
Mm-hmm.
try to share it. I'll just leave it alone. I'll share it later. Um, so let's talk about channeling. I always like to do this because there is a difference between the way I channel and the way Fernie channels, the way everybody else channels. For some reason, my screen keeps going. I put it on do not disturb,
Huh.
and it should stay. It should stay. I did this upgrade on it, but I'm afraid if I
Oh,
push to go over there,
you might
it
need
might.
to close all the other programs. If there's a program running in the background, it might be
I
using
did.
up your.
Are we
Yeah, I'm
back?
here. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Let's see what happens now. Um, so the way I'm a conscious channeler, I'll just close my eyes and just start letting it's kind of like just letting the energy flow through me. They'll just start talking and it'll be like a conversation like we're having. Um, and Fernie does a trance um channeling where he goes into a deep state and they come in and communicate through him. And then it takes a lot of surrendering. I'm a control person. I can't let him do that. No.
hmm it's yeah, that's hard. I mean, even in regular everyday stuff, it's hard to let go and
Yeah.
surrender.
And I was watching you last night and just admiring you and watching you work because it's like you're kind of like me. I can just move from one to the next. Boom, 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 boom.
hmm
And that
hmm
takes practice. You got to be able to turn on,
Switch it.
turn them off, turn it
hmm
on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it
hmm
off, turn it off, move forward, move out, move
hmm
forward, move out. And it's the same thing with channeling. It's being able to understand that when you're letting that energy, the spirit, tap into your energy and start communicating, um, it's not that they're taking over or possessing you. They're just using your voice or just tapping into your energy and you're surrendering into it. Um,
Most people surrender, and people don't realize this because a lot of us, by nature, we channel, even when we don't even realize it. A lot of people do. And a
well,
lot of people are channeling negative, lower vibrational energies and beings, and they don't even realize that they're doing it.
yes, and I get cleaned, whether I think I need it or not, about every 2 to 3 weeks because some of the
Mm,
work that I do. And I make sure that I am, you know,
hmm
clean and clear. And um, to make sure that I'm getting very clean and work. So, and that takes practice, and that's knowing. It's like, oh wait, I need to get a little tune up. If
Hmm.
you can't do it yourself, you should have somebody else do it.
Yeah. When I was in Houston, I used to go and get a tune-up, or I go get a Reiki cleansing once, like almost once every month or once every couple of months. I just had to. And if it wasn't like with you, it would be with Victoria McSpadden, because she was my
Right.
go-to Reiki person. Because I needed it in Houston. Here, the environment is so healing and cleansing on its own. I don't need to do as
You
much because
just
it's
go
just
for a walk.
exactly, that's what I do. I just go for the walk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and here
Hmm.
that's
You'll
not
get hit by a
doable.
car. You'll get hit by a truck if you go for a walk there.
Well, these days you never know. You never
Mm.
know. I Brittany, I have about three answers. So I think we're gonna work, but I'm not sure who's gonna come through. So the beings that will come through is either angels, masters, star beings, beings of higher consciousness, some beings that's never even been in this realm. The ones I normally work with, I call them the ancient ones.
Mm.
Saint Saint Francis will come through.
Mm-hmm.
Saint Germain will come through. Christ. Um, okay. So I'm going to say my little prayer and ask for protection. And anytime you do channeling, you always want to ask for protection. And when I do my teachings with my students, I always teach them to learn their own prayer, that the way that they can connect and create their own protection, how they bring in their angels, guides, masters, teachers, loved ones, those that work with them, um, and but using their own words, because then it's stronger in that way. It's
Mm-hmm.
the same as you. It's like you go into that state, but there's a prayer that happens. I am, I am the light, I am the way, I am the light, I am the way, I am the light. I call him, call him Angel Michael to come in and protect and overlight me and overlight Ferny and everybody that's watching. Ask for golden dawn protection and ask the complete pure light of God to be brought down and channeled through me. And I ask for my guides, angels, masters, teachers, loved ones, all those that are available to support me. And I ask for the one that is going to work with me to step forward and bring forth the highest knowledge and the highest truth. I ask for only the highest knowledge and the highest truth. I ask for the highest knowledge and the highest truth. I am that I am. Hmm. Hmm. Wow. Okay. Um, okay. Dear beloved, I am here this time, in this place, in this moment, to open up my heart to you so that you can receive, so that you can understand how to receive, and not only understanding how to receive, but also to
Ah, totally disconnected. Let's try that again and see if I can get him back on here. He completely lost the connection. I was totally feeling that too. I was like totally feeling that energy starting to build up. Whenever I've been around Shannon, it'll take him a minute to figure it out. Whenever I've been around Shannon, I feel an energy like rise up. And like it's funny because sometimes, and this has been a while since I've been with Shannon in person. But like whenever I've been with him, this is so wild how it frees it up with I know, right? This is hysterical. Like every single time it's with Shannon. And that's happened. It's just the energy is just starting to pull, and so it's starting to kind of intensify. And people always want to think like, oh, man, like what's that all about? I mean, depends. And this is the thing. Like some people's energy is just so intense that it starts to affect the things around them. Um, so like one time when I was around Shannon, actually it was the first time I had a session with Shannon, and I was sitting across the room from him, and it wasn't like we were like right next to each other. We were literally like a good 10 feet from each other. That's how far away from each other we were. And as he was going into that mode, to he suddenly began. Let me see if he's let me see. Let me call him here because I want to make sure he doesn't start and then think that he's like already there, and then there's no. Um, let's see. There it goes. Okay. Hey, we lost you. I know it's hysterical. Everybody's laughing because they're like, always with Shannon, always with Shannon. Oh, how funny. Let's see. Yeah. If you, if it makes it easier, just go ahead and like turn your phone off and then turn it back on, and then hopefully that'll clear everything up. And I was feeling it too. I was starting to feel the energy shifting. I was like, oh, here it comes. Hey guys, by the way, if you're on YouTube and Facebook, there's a person on there that's like Litz Afine Alicia who's asking Asha Muhammad inbox me for a reading or love spell. Like that's a troll, y'all. So if you're on YouTube or Facebook, you need to report that person as spam and then block them. That way the system can kick them out on Facebook because there's going to be like, oh, there you go. So let me get on here. All right, go. All right, there you are. So here, let's do this. I'm gonna get
Oh,
off and then get back on just because I don't want our time to get cut short. Because
okay then. Yeah, and when that happens and I get popped out, it's really like, oh, it takes me a
it's
second.
jarring.
Yeah,
It's jarring. It's not fun to go through that.
and I heard the phone ring, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because I was like, he probably hasn't figured it out yet. He's already in there.
They're really around. They're strong around me, so Ferny, can I ask this question? I'm going to ask a question. Do you have a topic, a question?
I
For
do.
some reason, I think that would be
Yeah, I have a question for myself, but I wasn't going to ask it right now. I was going to wait till you had gotten into it. Um,
no, go ahead and ask, and it will take me on the journey.
yeah. So, a while back ago, and this is something that I personally struggled with, and this is the first because I haven't admitted this to anybody. Um,
Uh-oh.
hmm is buy into like larger than life ideas and larger than life theories, etc. And so, when people start to talk about, oh, well, the Andromedans and the Pleiadians, and when they start going into the whole alien network and then they start bringing all these things up, I always take it with a grain of salt. Not because I don't believe in the existence of other races and other beings, but because I don't believe in every person's expression or story regarding that. Because I know people sometimes misinterpret or they may experience through their filter system. And if they have this belief in that, they may experience things through that. So for me, I always try to be a bit more objective, even though I do this work myself and I have situations like that happen. It's not as easy for me to accept personally. With that being said, I went through several regressions where I took myself into my deepest self with the help of a regressionist. And we were working on different things to heal. And we worked through healing through the issues with my mom, the issues with my stepfather. When we got to my own father, who I never met my father. He had nothing to do with my life. Um, Something weird happened or came up in the regression. And in the regression, instead of going to the physical human being that I only knew from a picture as my father, I was taken to this place, this void. Let's call it a void.
White energy. They're
Mhm,
white.
mhm.
Not like white like this.
No, just like,
It's
yeah,
they're
like light.
white.
Yeah.
But not even they're translucent. They're not real translucent. They just have this white energy.
Hmm.
And I'm like, wow, okay, these are the beings, the angels of the central sun, or the ancient ones that we used to call them. That's where people got the idea of angels. That's who they are. They're
Mm.
up here, and they are a species of people used to call them gods.
Mm.
The tribes when they would see. That's why you have these like a deity for this or deity, a god for this or god for that. That's what they would see them as in that
Mm.
space. And when they work with me, I keep waiting for them to come in and channel through and start really talking to you. But if they're like, let's bring this energy there. But I think a part of me is okay. Let's see who comes. Wow, Fernie. It's going to be a lot of energy. Okay.
We lost him again. Oh my God, y'all. What the hell? Girl, like, what is all that about? Oh, that's hysterical. Okay, let's see. We're just getting to it. We're just getting to it. Come on, Shannon, come back in. Come back in. They are not wanting me to get my answer. They're like not wanting me to get my answer today. Let's see. see. He might be getting back on now. Okay. He's like, it's a lot of energy. Oh my gosh. What do y'all think? For any of y'all who, I know because some of y'all are like, nerds like myself and you read stuff, but what do y'all think about my little secret thing there that I shared that I haven't really shared before? It gets back on here. Pop back on here in just a moment. Pop back in here in just a moment. Come on, Shani. Oh, there he is. Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. Oh, there he is. See.
It's like every time I was in there again.
No.
I mean, I was there and they're here and they want to, and maybe they don't. I'm just going to talk. We're just going to talk and I'm just going to let them to do it this way.
Yeah.
Because
Don't even announce it. Don't even
every
announce it. Just
time
let it like rhythm in.
every time I, bring that energy into
Mm-hmm.
me, really bring it in and just let
Mm-hmm.
them. It's just so much because my room, I have my skin, everything is just
Mm-hmm.
vibrating. So they're the angels of the central sun, and I'm going to call it that, or the ancient ones, what you would call the ancient ones. And they were here even before the physical was. And when the creation, I want to call it creation because that's the best words that I can understand what they're telling me. When they decided that they wanted to have creation and be able for um, to have the experience of remembering or the awakening through the ego, um, that's when the veil came down, or what you would call the veil, and that's when they started descending off of Earth. They started pulling up. They helped humans evolve and create and be. They're the ones that came and whispered the truth into people's ears. That's part of what your job is you whisper the truth into people's ears. And you'll do that even more because even as you channel the being that you work with, you'll start hearing that the truth, and it's called the truth. And they're telling me that's what, if the people have been having the ringing in the ears.
Mm-hmm.
That's them whispering in your
Mm-hmm.
ears, whispering the truth, because they've done it before with many other races that's been here on, and they transcended, or they went up and out and off of this planet. But for your being, the being that worked with you, that is your dad, or the one that is calling you dad, because the being that is here that's talking to me, he's saying he likes to be called. He likes to be called Samuel, the being that's here. He says, I would like to be called Samuel. And Samuel comes from the central sun. And he says that your being, that being that give you the energy or transmitted the energy through your dad to seed you. That's what they're calling it seeding you. Was a very high level, very, very high level. And he says that I know I'm kind of doing it more like a reading, but
No, it's fine. You do
their
you.
energy is so high. Every time I bring them in, they just knock everything out. I mean, my
Mm-hmm.
lights, everything go
Mm-hmm.
off. It's like, guys,
Mm-hmm.
wait. But they're so specific, and there's a few beings that are here like you that have the energy like you. Um, but soon Samuel is saying soon that part of you is truly going to awaken. It's kind of like the secret that you've been hiding out. And now that you've come, it's kind of like you've come out of the closet again, or you've shared your story. That energy is going to really start coming out in your wow. You're going to start really getting that. How does that say that? It's like you're going to start broadcasting. That's the best way I can explain. You're going to start broadcasting that energy, and it's like being in the flow or being able to receive. You're going to teach people to receive the energies, to truly receive the energies and be that clear channel. But that comes from that energy. But because I don't know how else to describe it, what they're showing, what I'm. It's a very holy place, very very holy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Saint Germain and many of the others came from that place too, incarnated here
Mm-hmm.
to come in and assist and show that energies. Samuel also says that the journey that the human soul is on right now is the path that was whispered. It was whispered. Wow. Okay. We were all whispered to. My phone keeps going back. It's trying to do it again. It's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
guys, no, stop playing with my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Everybody on Facebook, if you're getting inboxed or message, it says spammer. They're trying to take your money, so y'all need to report them as spammer and block them. So it's not me. No one's going to text you or message you from me while I'm in a session. Go
right.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Um, so Fernie, the I'm trying to ask for his name or your dad's name, but he said he's a high level being. He's very high level.
Yeah, I never got a name either.
No, and that's what he's saying. He and Samuel is saying, I just want to be. You can just call me Samuel because you wouldn't be able to. I don't have a name. It's a frequency or a tone or experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like if me and you met, I knew who you are, but I don't need to call you a name. Well, that's interesting because humans separate themselves by calling themselves a name.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating.
I have also encountered the name Samuel twice today before our session. So this would be the third time because I had someone book with that name today, and that's not a common name for someone
Right.
So I was like, okay, and then I had encountered it somewhere else, and I was like, okay.
His name is Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
That's here, and I believe he works with you, or he's wanting to work with you. Very very powerful being. Um, but he's saying that yes, you were created by this higher being. There was also several others that was created. The energy is true. Yes, the events that was happened. You were you your purpose. Wow, you have this access to things that so okay. Slow down. You got to slow down a little bit, just a little. Fernie, I know you understand what the Akashic records are. But do you know there's another records? Do you know there's a higher levels of records or the higher levels of the Akashic records?
I believe, from what I understand, that there are three levels of memory that exist within creation, and that the Akashic, or what most people understand as like the basic Akashic records, is the first level, but that there's two other levels above that.
Yes. And I think that's where you're going to start. He's saying that you have access to those.
Mm.
You have, just like he's saying, he's telling me I have access too. He pointed to me, but you have it too. And when you look at those, you start looking, you see the physical plane, and then you see the soul plane. Like the next level is the soul plane.
Mm-hmm.
The evidence, or the information where the soul keeps the energy.
Mm.
And then the higher is the divine plane. It's the divine, like the records from the divine. And that is what you tap into.
Mm.
You can tap into the divine records of one's, like, I guess your avatar, the higher, really higher place up there.
Mm-hmm.
But that place is what he's saying that you have the keys and the access to, and that's really going to start playing out for you. And Samuel says that even understanding those levels with the soul, when you work with somebody at the soul, and you're looking in that well, when you're looking at the soul records, their soul records, you can see where one has come from other galactic or other places that they may have traveled.
Mm-hmm.
And you can even see if they're AI or artificial intelligence, if they were created and implanted in here. So you can see where they are in that space. And you can also, wow. Yeah, there's so much there for you. A lot, Ferny. He said that will give you more of your history, and that is part of what he is here. He's like an instructor. Well, he's a teacher. He's an instructor, and he instructs you. It's like going to cosmic school, is what he's saying. He said, "You've been to cosmic school before, and this is what I do too. But I want to you help." He helps you access these dimensional planes and being able to work with other beings, other cosmic beings that you may not understand their energy or work with them. And that is part of what his job is to prep you. And he says that because of the time and the level of consciousness that we've accessed, that we're able to do this. And he says, when people talk about, this is really interesting, when people talk about the end of Earth or end of humanity, that is not truth. What happens is, because there's so many that create or hear the call or hear it being whispered. He said the last, he calls it the last evolution that happened. It took them 100 years to do that. Once they heard it, then they went through the process of the awakening process, and then they were able to totally step into their light bodies and come out of the earthly realm. He said that's the simplified version. He's very funny.
Right.
Very funny.
They usually are.
They're very funny. He's like, but he's very adamant about how we begin to work, and even as humanity, he says, even if you're looking at the influx of the energy right now, because it goes up and down, and he said what it is because we push the energy and people get into fear, and it creates all this fear going up, and then we have to back off and let everybody settle down. So we bring everybody up so they can work through their fears, and then we bring them back into a place and settle, and then we go back up. But he said we're pushing that energy so that you can create he said, he doesn't like, he says the consciousness or the remembrance of where humanity is, because we're way, way beyond, even in our technology and way beyond things. It's like, if they brought some of the technology, he says, out, or some of the things that are out that is already been developed here, humanity in itself would kind of get out of whack within itself. So they introduce it into movies, they introduce it into things, and then they start bringing it outwards. He says there are many beings that are from other planets or other races that are here, but their vibration is just so high you just don't see them in the physical form. But he said you will start doing that. If you're not doing it now, you will start doing it. And I said, he thanks you very much for that. When you're in the grocery store and you see something next to you, like, oh my God, it's Big Ed. He's got a big old head. And you know, New Mexico and up where you are, there's a lot of activity up in that area. But he, wow. And he wants to give the message out. Come on, slow down. You got to slow down. You're going too fast for me. He says that he would like to give a message to humanity in itself. When humanity understands that they came here to understand suffering, to understand what that means about suffering, and understanding that their energy, because you are an energy being, you are energy, everything about you, your heart, your mind, your eyes, your ears, everything is creates energy. It responds, it receives, it transmits, it creates energy. When you understand that you can step out of the suffering and you choose no longer to be in the suffering, is when humanity truly changes within itself. It begins to shift the energy within its own physical being. And that's our message. You know, the messages that they really get is about that. It's about love and compassion and love, true love, not sex love, not that, true love, allowing somebody to just be themselves and don't see them for their color or sex or race or whatever. That you just love them and honor them. And that's why the Christ, the Buddha, many masters that were here that taught those, that's what that was about. He also says that humanity in itself, he's calling it folding, the word folding. And he says the level of consciousness, we go up and we fold, and then we go up and we fold, and we go up and fold. And he says that's the best words that he can use that you would understand. But it's a process that allows the human experience, the physical human experience, or the DNA strands, the mass, to be able to elevate into the higher levels of consciousness or energy expression, that place of becoming the generator. And that is a very important place. And for you, and because of your lineage, that's what he keeps using. He said, he's here for you. You need to talk to him. When we're finished, you need to have a private conversation with Samuel.
Mm.
And do some writing.
Another one I have to contend with.
Yes.
Just add another one to my list. Oh.
But he'll answer some of the questions, and he's want to give some information, but he wants to give it directly to you because he a lot of people wouldn't understand it all, and you would get it more. And he says there's been things over your years of life that you went, for real? And then you're like, oh, okay. And he says those are the things, the pivotal points in your life that they were really with you. They were really, really working with you. He says you have many questions. Many, many questions.
You know, the folding, when you're talking about that, what I see as that, or what I get from that, is when the energy rises to serve that higher vibratory state or that frequency, that higher beingness, as the energy arises to meet it or to match it, it's almost as if not only is the awareness of what you're reaching to becoming very clear, but in the process you're kind of pulling up also you're dredging up some older energy, or energy that does no longer support that process, that growth spurt. And it's almost like it's like when a tsunami, when the water is preparing to come in from a tsunami, but the water retracts and kind of pulls back. It's almost like it's preparing to come and pull back, and as it's pulling back, it's pulling the sand, it's pulling all this sediment and dirt and old energy, and it's about to just go out into this massive overshadowing of all things. And so it's like when it's rising up, it's bringing up, it's dredging up this old energy. And that's why I would think that things would fold, things would kind of come up, and then they kind of settle in, because they have to settle into this new vibratory state. And so it's almost like, let's stabilize first, let's get to a stabilization point, which is why I would say, I guess right now we are going through this as in 2020, because humanity is being called and summoned to rise to this higher awareness and higher state of beingness.
Yes.
But we are all not prepared to reach that level. And so those of us who are still needing to work through things, some of the darkest, most lower shadowy selves are coming up to match their energy. They've got to deal with that. They've got to confront that. And those of us who are also having to deal with shadow versions of ourselves as well. But the shadow versions are more of an understanding that it exists, not necessarily we have to do battle with it or we have to engage with it. We just have to be aware of it and then kind of love it into absorption, because you can't really destroy something. You have to love it into submission, because when you love something, it doesn't want to fight you. It doesn't want to push back. It doesn't want to, become aggressive. It actually wants to surrender into that love, because we all want that. We all want, even the shadow selves want to surrender into love. But the love has to be so overwhelming that it will pure
love.
It has to cause that clarity of being, and some people are becoming aware of that in a way as well. And I've been dealing with that myself in this year,
So I want to, because he was talking to me the whole time. I'm like, hang on, I want to get this too. Samuel says that let's look at this year. That's what he said. Look at what's happening right now. Look at what you're saying about the unfolding and how these things, and we were peak energy, and then we were put here. He said, what is happening right now is humanity is grieving the old, like grieving the old, the past of what it was. And a lot of people, it gets pushed up, pulled up, and then we're brought back down, just like you're saying, like the tsunami. And he said, that's a great analogy. It's like the tsunami. He says, because of the consciousness, it's like you humanity in itself could not move to the next place that it needed to, or this awakening state, on the path it was going. It needed to change timelines. It needed to shift. And as that occurred, this energy was brought in. It was like this dark energy, if you want to call it, was brought in to create this, like this real quick impact. And now it's like we had to go into reset mode. You know, everybody went into reset mode. We went into that place where we were all just hunkered down. And now people are coming out, but you can watch the energy. You can watch the energy go up, and it stays up, and you're getting there, and then all of a sudden it folds. The wave comes in, and the next, you can feel that energy moving. But it's bringing up the grieving process. And I've had this moment where I just started crying. I didn't even know why I'm crying. I don't even know what I was crying for. And he's explaining that was because you were grieving your past of the way it was before. And you can't. So when you go up high into the states, you can't bring all the luggage with you. So it has to fold. It has to go down. And then you have to process that. And then they bring you back up in your energy again and go into that space. He said, and we're going to go through this probably another 4 months or so. Oh, they're flickering my lights now. They're leaving my phone alone. Now they're flickering the lights. It's like, he says around 4 months that we can start feeling the stabilization of it, because remember there's four stages of creation. And once we have that thought, and then we have the process, and then we have the recognition or the transcendent, and then it's death and rebirth. You know, it's that place where we it's the cycle. It's like the medicine wheel. It's like you watch how it every aspect of the four seasons. You watch how the four seasons is the same. We're going into that place. And he says that once this process has occurred, you're going to see a lot more people that are like, they get on the elevator and get off on the first floor, and they're like, poop, like they just, and they don't need a whole lot of cleaning up, is what he says. They don't need they kind of understand it. And even now they kind of already understand it, but it's that place that we're going to, and humanity within itself. And that's part of all of our path, that we agreed to come here. We agreed to be a part of this. We agreed to be in this energy and hold it. Whether it be the heavy energy or the light energy, it doesn't matter. We all have purpose to being here and calling and bringing it. I don't know why I want to say this. Do you have a green hat? A green hat. He keeps showing me a green hat, and I want to say that to you. A green hat. Watch for a green hat.
Okay.
Like a leprechaun hat or something, but a green hat.
Okay.
I'm going to give it. You know me, I'm going to give it to you, whether it's right or wrong. I'm giving it. I'm like, okay, why are you? Okay, I'm just going to give it. I don't know what that's a symbolizing of it, but okay. So if somebody shows up in a green hat or something about a green hat, okay. And that might be him. But where I'm just very fascinated about, and I'm asking him, I want to understand more of this place, of what I would call the central sun. And now my phone's going on and off again. It's like, okay. If you see my finger going there, it's It's like, um, it's like a colony of beings. That is a it's a colony of beings that are very divine.
Like a colony, like a place colony, or like a collective?
A collective,
Okay.
a collective colony. They
Mm-hmm.
all live. You know, they're in the sphere, but they're
Mm-hmm.
there. And wow, you can tap into that
Mm-hmm.
real easy,
Mm-hmm.
real easy. It's like just not you don't have to go into it. You could just kind of like if you were just to bring your he's saying if you were to bring your consciousness to that, you could just feel the outside and feel that experience.
I've been working on a new sensing protocol because when I sense and tune into psychic information or details, or when I do even, I I go through a protocol that helps me to kind of focus and kind of get tuned in. And I'm kind of tired of a lot of the bullshit that's going around in the world right now with
Mhm.
people just saying what they want to say without having, evidence or buying into this or buying into that. But at the same time, doing this work has made me very aware that there are things happening in the world. There are things that exist that I cannot dismiss. But there's a lot of overlap happening, and people are kind of following these stories and not necessarily following the energy. So there's almost two things going on simultaneously. And I know that most people, when we experience something, we experience it through a set of filters that we were conditioned to exist, that we were conditioned to kind of accept energy within.
Right.
So I've been working on that, and so the protocol is about tuning into truth and peering past the filtered version of something, because I don't want to see the filter. I want to see what's behind it. And
That's good.
so there's this like summoning that's happening now where I've been feeling this desire and need to put myself into a meditative, I guess, trance state. And I haven't done this yet, but it's coming closer. But I've been needing and feeling the pull. It's almost the same pull
Yeah.
that I had when I came here to New Mexico. It was the same pull. It's the pull now. It's like coming up, and it's like you need to do this. You need to do this because there's
And
more that needs to be revealed. And I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Like, okay,
that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. That's part of that. You when you start doing that and they're getting the writing, that's they're gonna really tell you a more in depth. You
mm,
will get more in depth information, the truth. It's almost like Superman,
right,
where did he come from?
right,
In
right,
that place. But I think it's funny about what you were saying about truth because that's what they've been really working and driving with me. It's about no, you got to move past all of your filters, all the things, and step into the truth and just stand there and that and the truth so that it just be as pure as you know that it can be just
mm,
there. And one of the things that I'm working with a group of people and they are wanting to expand their abilities. And one of the ways to do it is for like missing persons or cold cases, because in the parameter when you're setting your target, and you know what I'm talking about, when you set your target
mm,
and you're looking, the detectives need evidence. They don't want all the vagueness. They
yeah,
want to know, okay, what color clothes were they wearing? Who
mm,
was it? Do they have tattoos? Do they have this?
mm-hmm,
And that's where it just goes into that define, you're starting to define that place. And that's why I tell them, I said, they don't want any of that other stuff. They want bottom line.
right,
And that's what he's saying that is is the truth. That's one of the things that you're listening into the space and truly hearing the truth about who you are. And that's everybody
right,
because we've been told who we are and we have these filters that we have been placed on us. It's like putting the goggles on
Right.
or the rose-colored glasses, and this is so pretty. It's so good.
Right.
Anything you tell me, I will tell you, Fernie. I have only in my 30 years of doing this, I have read maybe 6 books, metaphysical books,
Mm-hmm.
or anything on this. I don't read other people's stuff because it can give me a thing. And one of them is The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. And I've read the whole series of that. Um, and for me, when I look at that place, and that's why I ask, and he's just giving me information like crazy. And it's like, okay, you're just going too fast and you have to slow down. And I tell him that you got to slow down. And if you have to show me picture by picture by picture by picture, I want to see it in detail
Mm-hmm.
so that I know the truth. I know what you're giving me. And like what he's showing me for you is like it's you've been in a cocoon, and it's like you've been practicing this and you've been practicing this level, and you've been in this cocoon, and now you're gonna open up the cocoon and start opening up your butterfly wings. Like you're just gonna become
Mm-hmm.
this truly transformed. And it's a very beautiful experience because oh, wow. Okay, I got it. Samuel says one of the beliefs that you hold is that you're too much energy for people. Like we'll hold it inside and we're too much, we process people. But he's saying you even have that too. I thought he was talking to me because I've even said that. It's like, oh, I'm too much energy sometimes. And he says, no, Fernie has that too. And it's part of a belief system inside of us. If we truly let our authentic self, that will just blow up everything,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that's not truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the place that you're going to be working with, is letting go of that. Like, okay, let them in, let them work, let them be.
Mm-hmm.
It's very powerful.
It's interesting, and it's also unsettling because, one thing that I've committed to myself is that I will never allow myself to be put above others. Like that's something that I refuse to acknowledge. So even someone trying to say, "Oh, Fernie is this," or Fernie, like, don't. Like I
Don't do
refuse
that.
to allow myself, yeah, to be put above others in any way because I'm like I have to stay on the level that everyone else is at so that I can help what I need to help with. And sometimes just hearing the idea of some sort of like, okay, there's this like expansion and it worries me because I'm like, well, I don't want to go to the point where I'm so removed energetically that I'm not helping or doing what I'm supposed to
But
do.
that's not truth. But he's giving me the term of like Christ, how the story of Christ. Christ embodied, he helped, he was here, but he held his light. Buddha, he became enlightened. He was full in his, when you use the word enlightened, it's like, he said it's like, you become light. You are light, but you're not going to, um, how do you say, be above anybody or better than anybody. It's just you're going to be more of your authentic self in this place.
I can
And it's
understand.
not it's just, yeah, some people may cry when they're around you or don't understand, but you're so humbled, and you're here to serve, just like me. I'm here to serve. And it's like allowing that place, your heart to open to receive more, to be in that place. And that's what he says. That's part of the process of understanding truth. And if you really want to get into truth, or you want truth, you got to look at truth within yourself. That's the most important place. In wow, yeah, because being your authentic self is kind of like going back to the tsunami. You go up and you pull that energy way up, and you fold down, and you let yourself stabilize, and then they pull you back up. because all of these things, like you said, it's the filters, it's the places that we put on us. That is not who you are. It's like they told me, Christ came and told me about the laws, the Ten Commandments. I said, the Ten Commandments. He said, yeah, the one that you created. You have laws and you've created over the years that, oh my God, if I get too big, blah blah blah, I'm gonna lose myself. I'm gonna lose myself, or be, people are not gonna be, what I'm saying. It's all these laws that we put. It's like, oh, I can't be my authentic self because I would be put on a pedestal, and I don't want that this lifetime.
Right.
I don't want to be worshipped.
Right. No. Absolutely not.
And that's not what will happen, because you have enough humbleness in your being that it won't happen. It will be just a natural thing. And sometimes you have this law. If I allow this to come in, it's going to hurt, or I'm going to be crazy like my mom or my dad or my cousins or
Which is something
whoever.
that I have fear over too. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not. You won't, Ferny. You will be more you. That's what Samuel says. He will be really, truly you. You're more authentic who you are. And you've worked really, he's saying work. You really did a lot of soul looking, and you really asked, and this is what you asked for. You don't want any of these filters anymore. And that was part of the anger that was happening when you were in there. When you were meeting your dad, or your spirit dad in there, because you were in that place of, oh my God, well, why are you here and why am I here? But you don't want to explain to me where you are, and you want to explain to me, what does this mean? Am I going to be worshipped this lifetime again?
Yeah, because that's the one thing I do not want is for people to see me and say, oh my gosh, like, like Ferny's amazing, like to build me up in that. It's not what look what happened to Christ. He came to teach and to provide a path for each of us to find our divinity in ourselves. And people said, oh my God, you're God. And then they turned him into a God. And he's like, you're a God too, fool. Like, you totally you took what I want, you took what I gave you, and you twisted it and turned it into a weapon against yourselves. Why would you do that? And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to come here and do anything like that. So I'm very conscientious about how I'm wanting people to, like, see me or accept me.
I think that would be a question that when you tap into that place, that you ask, how would you resolve that within yourself, that as humanity? Because, and I'm going to be very blunt, a lot of people don't want to take responsibility.
Right.
And they will, what is his name? Chu Chow. What is his name? The Doc Chen. He'll say that. Why do you come here to me and want me to be responsible for you? You want me to come. You want me to fix you, but you don't want to do nothing about it. You come here over and over and over, but you never do anything about it. See, me, I like clients that come and see me and I don't see them.
Yeah.
And then I check in with them. They're like, well, I'm doing the best, but they send me big money in the mail or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very blunt with people. I'm like, I've given you tools and I've given you a path. Do not come back until you've at least initiated the process of putting that into place. Yeah. And if you don't come back, then you don't come back. But you need to do the work. I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to give you the way to fix yourself. And people they don't want to hear that. They don't want to do the work. They do not want to invest in their divinity, into the beingness that they could achieve on this plane of experience, of existence. And that's so frustrating because I'm like,
Yes. No, I get it. And he's saying,